Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. My name is Ryan Chambers. This is episode number 8 of the 2022 offseason. We got a jam-packed show for you guys here tonight. Not a lot of preparation on my part because of how busy my job's been, but nonetheless, we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Please go and use that promo code THPN next time you use DraftKings Sportsbook for a special little offer from them. And as always, without further ado, we have the trio of us here tonight. Hey, James. Hey, Chris. How you guys been doing?
Great. I think this show's about to be copyrighted now because of what James just played on his telephone,
No,
though. So
I did not.
The whole thing is ruined.
It has to be more than 3 seconds, and that was a millisecond. So I think
Okay.
I wasn't even paying attention. What did he even play?
I have no idea, but it's for sure copyrighted.
See?
So
you can't even tell.
Well, I'm filing a lawsuit myself.
So, anyways, Chris, what you been up to? It looks like the walls behind you are a little bit bare.
Yeah, the walls are down. Swanson is gone. I'm about to move out of my apartment this weekend, and I'm working all weekend. So the only time I could do it was previous weekend. So I am in an empty apartment with a laptop and a microphone.
And a pair of headphones.
You did get a pair of headphones.
And a girlfriend, I guess.
And a girlfriend. Hi, Ellie. We love you. Did you hear that?
No,
she didn't. Okay, whatever. James, what you been up to?
Not that much. I've slow beginnings of the weeks because I mainly work on weekends.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my week has been absolutely crazy insane. For those of you that don't know, Summer Band started for me on Monday, and even before that, really, it started with percussion camp last week. So, for those of you that are not familiar with like Texas or bands or anything,
the only way to describe Summer Band is it's worse than football's training camps. 100%. More grueling, more taxing on the body. I mean, it's a competition out there. These kids are going after each other for spots on the field. It's just 8 minutes over and over and over again of just grueling competition.
Yes, yeah, extremely, extremely physical, right? Summer Band is.
I mean, there's fights every day,
every time,
we
especially in the trumpet section.
We keep cops posted there because of the fisticuffs.
Oh my goodness, and well, you know what we should do? We talked about our Who Cares. We should do a double Who Cares tonight.
Double.
Remember the other thing we talked about in our?
We can do double Who Cares.
Yeah,
sure.
we should do it. Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Well, we'll see. We'll look at the time.
Right.
If the time is lower than normal, we'll do a double Who Cares.
Okay.
We'll play it by ear.
Cool. All right. It is very good to see all of you guys here tonight here in the chat. We're seeing Talik Lizzie over there. James is over there as well. We got Troy from the flatlands of Lubbock. Wow. Okay. It's fairly close to me. It's still about 3 hours. It tells you how big West Texas is.
Poor guy.
AC. Oh, that's my wife, Amanda. She's literally sitting over there. And I didn't even realize it. Happy early birthday, Ryan. Yep. My birthday is tomorrow. I will be the big 2-9 tomorrow. So
he's old.
Other comments. Ardell. Chris is bottom 6 Frisbee golf forward.
That's generous, man. That's generous.
Hey, you know what you should talk about? You should talk about the guy who's doing really well on tour right now.
Oh yeah,
you should go ahead and say
Chandler Kramer. There was the European Open, a disc golf major. He placed 5th at. He did very well. Represented Lone Star Discs.
And not to mention, he's an Aggie too. So
he is an Aggie. He played on my disc golf team.
And what's really interesting about him is, for those of you that don't know a ton about Frisbee buckets, as our mom calls it, he throws forehands on both sides. So he's like slightly ambidextrous with that, which I thought was really cool. So anyways, Brian. Hey, Brian is a friend from the Denison area. What are you talking about? Band is not time consuming at all. Oh, you know better than that, Brian. He's a former band director. Let's see. My wife's daughter was in matching band. We remembered July marching. It was freaking hot. Adrian, thank you. Amanda, be quiet. She's saying, you mean 30? No.
Close enough. You got a round.
I
Everyone
just
knows
turned
round
30 a couple
birthdays.
weeks ago. Rip. Your time is almost here, Ryan. Hopefully not, but happy early birthday, Ryan. Thank you, James. And Brian, laugh out loud. You know better, Brian. You know better. All right. Anyways, yeah, let's get into actual
Moving
stuff
on.
here.
First
Okay.
topic that I want to talk about is big rumor dropped by other podcasts that I can't remember the name of right now. But apparently, according to insiders, we're in the name for a big name player.
Mm-hmm. So let me pull this up for you guys. So this was mentioned on the Cam and Strick podcast, okay, which is a big time podcast. They also mentioned a tweet by Andy Strickland, who again I mentioned this in our the little Matthew Tkachuk rumors video that I did several times ago. Matthew Tkachuk was not the only big-time player that apparently the Stars were going after. And now it appears that this player included in these rumors is none other than Dallas Stars' most hated player, Patrick Kane. Yes, he's hated by Stars fans.
Most
You
hated.
know it.
Most hated.
Okay, maybe not most hated, but he's very much hated, okay?
Yes.
Okay? Just go with it. Anyways, how would y'all feel about a trade from Patrick Kane coming to Dallas?
Pretty crazy. So the reason this is more plausible than probably the Tkachuk trade is because Chicago's tearing it down. So they want the naughty contracts. So giving away Foxa or Hudobin is more likely in that case, which frees up cap space to have a player like that on your roster. If you don't want him on your team, you're just wrong. He's one of the best players in the NHL. So we can hate him as much as he wants, but he's a very good hockey player. So yes, we want him. And right now, I feel like the prospects that we have are close to showing up to the league. There's not a lot of, I'm not hearing a lot of noise from the earlier prospects really. And I know our defensive prospects are terrible because we just did a whole draft of them. So I'm thinking right now, let's go get a guy. If we can trade for him and not give up any of our current core or any of those three big forwards, I think you absolutely should.
James, how are you feeling about it? Because you're kind of quiet over there. I'd like to know your thoughts about if Patrick Kane could come to the Stars.
I mean, it works if you can trade obviously like a Foxa or Hudobin contract off, and then also give picks for it. It's really kind of what you want to see the most, because we don't really want to give away the prospects that we have right now, and we're trying to get more cap space. So there's two things that one thing that we really need to dump, which is cap space, and one thing which we're okay with losing right now is the draft picks.
And the thing that Chicago's okay with taking is bad contracts right now too. So that would not be a problem.
Okay, so let me ask you the $1 million question is, if Patrick Kane was traded to the Stars, what would the Stars be giving up in favor of Patrick Kane? So what would be going the other way?
I would honestly be willing to give up, obviously, the players with bad contracts to free up the space. So whoever that is, really, which is none of the top guys, none of our prospects, really. I'd be fine giving up like a Delandria or one of our lesser prospects, maybe like Peterson. And then 2 first-round picks, honestly. I would give up 2.
2, really? Okay, I think that's overdoing it a little bit, but that's me personally. There's some people asking in the chat what his cap hit is. I'm trying to look it up right now here on Cap Friendly. So according to Cap Friendly, his cap hit is 10.5 million. So the lowest amount that the Stars can get him for is 5.25 million towards the cap.
Which
I mean, it's possible. It's very possible that could happen. I really do think that could happen because, Patrick Kane is not excited about what's going on in Chicago right now. There's a lot of things going on right there right now. And it looks like Jonathan Taves is also on his way out. I mean, is there a possibility the Stars are in on Jonathan Taves? I hope not, because hasn't been as active as Patrick Kane has been. But the one other thing that kind of worries me is a couple of things. His age, he's 33 years old, so he is a little older, and he only has 1 year left on his deal. Now, we could see that as a positive, or we could see that as a negative. The only reason he may go somewhere is if he can sign an extension with another team and still keep his no movement clause. That would be the thing that I would assume that he would want. And if you're the Stars, especially for a 33-year-old, I don't know if you're giving enough extension, enough years to him, other than maybe 4 years at max. That's probably the max I would give him.
I don't even know if you extend him at all, honestly. Like, the way I'm thinking about it is Pavelski's on a 1 year. I think GM Nil said that we're trying to go for the cup, and that's why the Stars are in talks with everybody right now. The Stars are trying to make a splash, is what all the rumors have been saying. The Stars are looking for somebody. So a 1 year thing, like, that's fine. Like, if our young core can keep playing well, if Pavelski stays at least similar to what he did last year, Ben Sagan move up a little bit, and then we get someone like Patrick Kane, you're looking at a really good hockey team. So it's hard to underperform more than we did last year. So I feel like last year you could only go up from there, honestly, except for the Klingberg is the bigger wild card. How much will that hurt us? But we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Yeah. And Harley's going to have to step up, like we've talked about numerous times.
And honestly, though,
sorry, James, go ahead.
With having, like, I mean, you're looking at the forwards that we're in talks with. If we pick up Patrick Kane, he ends up on a line with probably Ben and Sagan, right?
Probably.
Like you're probably a Ben Sagan, Patrick Kane line.
Mm-hmm. That's at least what you're trying to start with.
Yeah. Yep. And then your third line, you still have Marchment on there, which is a great third line player. Like,
and a guy that possibly could play top 6 minutes too.
You're talking, we're solidifying a second and possibly solidifying a third forward line. That's going to help the defense a lot. They won't have to, the mistakes that they will make can be covered up with offense. And that wasn't a thing last year. That's why we were on Klingberg so much last year, because every mistake he made could cost us the game. Yeah. And that if you have cushion. Yeah, and you have an offense that potent, it's not going to be as big of a deal on every single turnover. They're still going to matter, but not nearly as much.
And maybe this is going back to the whole thing where we're just trying to balance our system just a little bit. I mean, our defense was really good, but it was, well, I say it was really good. It wasn't that great last year, but you know, typically the past couple of years, the Stars' defensive core, the top 6, have been very solid, and that's been the strength of the team. Maybe they're looking at it now and deciding, you know what, maybe we need to give up some of that defense, aka Klingberg, in favor of guys like Patrick Kane and Mason Marchment. I mean, I could totally see them, and I understand the logic behind it. The one thing I did want to mention was his stats from the last couple of years. It's ridiculous. This guy is more consistent than anything. He's one of the most consistent players in the NHL. I'm just going to go back. I mean, he's been in the league since 2007, 2008. I'll go back to 2017-18, okay? So 17-18, 27 goals, 49 assists, 76 points in 82 games. That was an off year for him. 18-19, 110 points in 81 games. 19-20, the COVID shortened season, 84 points in 70 games. In another shortened COVID season, 2021, 56 games, 66 points. In 21-22, 78 games and still 92 points. I mean, this guy, this guy
consistently over a point per game player.
Exactly. Now, here is my question for you guys, because I think this is really interesting, and I posed this on Twitter with a couple of guys I was talking with. I really kind of want to see, and I really want to see him play with none other than Denis Gurianov, because, and I know you're kind of like, but here's my thought process, okay? Who was one of the top duos in the NHL for the past 5 years? Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. Those two guys together were just monumental, enormous point getters for the Chicago Blackhawks. One of the reasons why they were still just a competitive team, not making the playoffs, but just still competitive.
Yeah.
In Dallas, I don't know who else you look at who is quote unquote a sniper other than Dennis Gurianov, and
Sagan.
maybe Patrick Kane can get him going there. I'm not worried about Sagan. I think Sagan can get there, but I would love to see a line of Sagan, Gurianov, and Kane
Right
if
now,
we get him.
I'm just so low on Gurianov that like I don't want to give him anything until he earns it, because just last year was just so bad for him.
Yeah,
So,
but
yes, that's a good idea.
That.
I like the idea, but let's see if we get Patrick Kane first, and then we'll talk about line combinations.
But
so,
I mean, does that sound? Does that sound interesting though? That maybe that Kane could probably get Gurianov going. That was my thought process.
Yeah, I think playing him with someone different, even playing with Marchment, like just move something with him. You got to try to get him going. I think that would help a lot. But the other thing I wanted to point out was Patrick Kane is over a point per player, a point per game player, even on good teams and bad teams. So Stanley Cup teams, same thing. On a non-playoff team, he's the same way. So you're exactly right on point with that consistent point, Ryan. So I want to see Patrick Kane. What are y'all willing to give up for Patrick Kane? I said 2 firsts. So
knowing what we know about the situation with him and with Chicago and everything, and knowing he wants out, I mean, it's not, unknown that he wants out. Everybody knows he wants out. I wouldn't be willing to give up too much, and I would be forcing the issue and trying to get them out. I mean, Chicago got fleeced by Ottawa with getting DeBrincat from them. I mean, it was a first, a second, and a third, and that was it. They didn't give up any roster players for that. So looking at that trade and looking at how I think their GM's name is Kyle Davidson. I might be wrong on that. But seeing how that trade went down, I could see the Stars pulling off another trade like that. Because, again, Jim Nill has done that in the past with the Sagan trade and with the Spezza trade and also with the Sharp trade. Because
Patrick Kane is such a better player, though.
He is, but I really don't think he's going to get as much as people are thinking he's going to.
Just because he's old and has 1 year left?
Yes. Both of those things are against him right now. And the only thing that's different in this case compared to Matthew Tkachuk is Matthew Tkachuk is 24, Patrick Kane is 33. That's my only thing.
And in the Matthew Tkachuk trade, I mean, Huberdeau went to the Flames and he's on a 1 year deal. His contract has 1 more year on it.
Yep.
I mean, all of us were kind of surprised that it wasn't just like a 1-for-1 with those two, and it's because he only has a year left on his contract.
Y'all let us know in the comment section down below who y'all would put as a trade package together for Patrick Kane. So let us know down in the comment section down below. For me, I mean, obviously, cap space has to go the other way.
Yeah. Let's ignore that. Cap space goes the other way.
Cap space has to go the other way as well. So obviously the easy one would be Foxa, and obviously you would think Dobby if they would take Dobby. But again, I still feel like they would have to sweeten something in order for Chicago to even take that, because they're not going to take our trash and give us Patrick Kane. That's just not going to happen. So I would think it may take one of those big three to get Patrick Kane to come here. But
the big 3 prospects.
Big 3 prospects. Thank you, Chris. One of those big 3. So if that's what they're expecting and that's what they want, no. Not calling back. Sorry.
I don't know.
That's tough for me. Yeah.
I'm honestly that's worth it to me, honestly. If you do a prospect, you give them a second and a third round, and then you throw the Foxa and Dobby contracts in.
So we'd be giving up 5 assets for a guy who's 33, and
they're a guy who's 50%.
They have So I guess that would be another thing that we could get
retaining 50%. Because that is
I'd go 33% even honestly. Because
if they're doing that low, then I would say they don't get the second; they get the third.
Right. Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's just what I think and what I.
But I agree with James. I'd be willing to give up one of them, one of the prospects. I don't remember who was like the top prospect Who's the one that like people are projecting will play
Wyatt and
this
Bork
year?
are both like interchanging.
They're
now.
kind of, yeah. It's
They're
like
both
for
like flip flopping. They're both really good, strong, heavy forwards.
Okay.
yeah.
We
I've
might lose
seen
Stanky.
yeah, for the longest time I've seen Wyatt Johnston, and then around the draft, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Maverick Bork is really the guy," and so I don't know.
They've been flipping back and forth for the past like 3 months, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
maybe we get both of them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Doubtful, but maybe.
It's tough to say no, we're not going to trade this guy who might be good whenever you can get Patrick Kane and be a really good team.
And even if it's for 1 year, I mean, Chris mentioned the Pavelski contract. We only have Pavelski on a 1-year contract right now too.
And we know what that means.
Yeah.
So if it's not going to be Kane, it's going to be someone else. And I feel like Kane's going to be better than someone else.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't want Kane. He's a good player. I just don't know if I'd be willing to give up Logan Stankoven. So that's just me.
I'll do it.
James and Chris are all in. I'm a little hesitant, but
right.
Either way, we'll see if we can get Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks.
On to the next thing. Still talk about other players who haven't signed. Klingberg still hasn't signed, which is crazy. And then he got married. What was it? Last week? Last week he got married. His agent was at the wedding, and I guess he fired the agent while he was at the wedding. It wasn't that much love.
I don't think he did it
because the agent's gone. He's done. So obviously Klingberg's not happy with how the offseason went, which makes sense because he still doesn't have a contract. So he doesn't even know what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. And now he's like completely flipped with the new agent too, who also doesn't know the situation with Klingberg and the situation between other teams. And now that agent has to reestablish all those things.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be a while until he signs. But the thing that brought to this table in a lot of Stars fan group chats was, what if we just sign Klingberg again for like a year? And then he takes another crack at it. If he takes a low offer, you could try and find room for him probably. We talked about buying out Dobby's contract. That frees up a couple $1 million. Somehow make it work. There's a world where it happens. It's just like, with him not signing, it just feels it's weird. Like, I don't know.
Here's my thought process, because one of the things a lot of people have said that the Stars could do to make even more cap space, along with trade Foxa, trade Dobby, is buy out Ryan Suter. I know that.
Imagine getting bought out twice.
Yeah, right. I don't feel like Suter was as bad as people were saying. Was he great? No, but it was his first year with a brand new team, and
he ate up minutes like a monster too, man.
And that's
like he played a lot more than people realize. He played so much.
Right, and again, I know he makes like. He really doesn't make that much. It's not like he's a $6 million player. I mean, I'm jumping on Chris's bandwagon over here. If you want to win a cup and you're like dead serious about this, the player to trade is Jamie Benn or Tyler Seguin. And I obviously none of us want that. But you can't look at Suter and say he's expendable just because of 1 year. He was decent. So I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on
Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin were decent. They just weren't $9 million decent.
And maybe that's the thing too.
So I don't think it's the only way to win a cup is to trade Benn or Seguin either. Like they could totally play better. That's very likely. Yeah. Seguin playing better is probably more than likely, in my opinion.
Especially in a second season after the surgery. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we have to trade any of our big players. But if you have to make it some kind of splash, which is what they're trying to do. You want to make a splash like this and not trade away too much. So,
and here's another good point. I'm going to bring up Leslie's point. Suter is the new scapegoat. Remember how much crap Bishop would get Dobby for starter. Yeah, and guess what happened when Bishop was no longer around, and then Dobby became the starter.
We were in trouble.
We were in trouble, and out emerges a hero in Jake Ottinger. So
if only someone could have called that.
Oh, if only.
If only.
It's not like a couple of people on this podcast said, "Oh, we just need to give him a chance," or it's not like
One
someone
said he should have started opening night.
you
And
did say
someone
that.
else didn't. So
I didn't say that. That's true, but I did say that he deserved a chance, and I even wrote about that on Blackout Dallas.
Wow, he deserves a chance.
He
so
deserves
kind
a
of you.
chance. Give
So
him a
much
chance
bait.
bonus. So
anyway, yes,
Yep.
totally agree with that. I don't think Suter is that terrible. I think it's not. I still think the contract sucks. I mean, signing him until he's 40 is not great, but at points in the playoffs, he did look like a pylon. So I don't know. I don't think he's great, but I think he's fine. He just better not be on the power play next season.
Please, goodness.
The
other
other
thing is he still scored the most power play goals out of our defensemen.
That's pretty sad. One more thing about Kane that I'm not thinking about is I know people hate talking about it, but it's the whole Stanley Cup final experience kind of thing. And he's got a ton of it. So that's another thing that he's got that, also Klingberg's got as well. He's got playoff experience. So I don't see a world in where both of those things happen. So that's just me. But what do you guys think?
I want him.
You want him back?
No, I want Kane.
You want Kane?
I don't think Klinger's coming back.
I want Klingberg back too.
Not.
I want Klingberg
unless
back
Klingberg
too.
signs for like a crazy.
He'll have to sign for 4.
It's not happening.
Well, that might be on the table at this point, considering it's literally my birthday tomorrow, the 28th, and it's literally been over 2 weeks since free agency opened, and lots of players already have teams. And
honestly, if we sign him 1 year, then if the 1 year Pavelski contract really is like Pavelski's just going to play 1 more year, then that cap hit can go to Klinger after the year. Just depends on if we're going to re-sign Pavelski after a year or not.
I wouldn't think that, but never say never. So
I think it depends
really know
if the team is playing good or not. Like if we're actually a Stanley Cup contender and we almost win, then I think he'll come back. But if not, he's going to go to another team that will win.
Yeah. Well, guys, I just wanted to point this out too, because we were talking about free agents and stuff like that. So it's really weird because there's still a lot of good players that are on. Now they may be on the older side, but there's still a lot of good players that are on the open market.
Star leveled players. Let's hear them.
There's John Klingberg, obviously. Nazem Kadri, Danny DeKeyser. He's a pretty good, bottom 4 defenseman. Stars great Antoine Roussel. Also stars great Louis Eriksson. And then there's some bigger names that are, older now, and they could provide a lesser role. But there's PK Subban and Phil Kessel. There's also
I'll take Phil Kessel, not PK.
There's also Paul Stastny. There's Jay Beagle. Another Stars great, Cody Eakin. Man, this is just full of Stars players.
How old is Cody Eakin now?
Cody Eakin is 31.
Oh.
Oh, and Chris Russell.
Chris Russell. Ninja.
He's 35.
Led the league in shot blocking.
He is the all-time leader in NHL history with shot blocking.
What a crazy mediocre record.
Right. I know.
But he got it.
It is though. It's his.
He can tell his grandkids later on, hey guys, I've got the NHL history in the rule book for when it comes to shot blocking.
I get
such
hit
a great
by
thing.
pucks more.
I get hit by pucks more than anybody else.
So yeah, lots of crazy free agencies still on the table. Stars are going to do something before the season starts. If they don't, then Nil failed at his goal. He's trying to move something. He's trying to bring in a big name. So we'll see what happens. Stay posted.
Stay posted, not stay tuned.
On the rumor pages. Tkachuk, we didn't get him.
Yeah, we didn't, and honestly, let's talk about that for a second, because what Florida gave up to get Matthew Tkachuk, I understand from both sides, but still, what a haul Calgary got. I mean, if you're a Calgary fan, you must be feeling at least a little bit better after what's happened.
I looked at it again though. So I agreed with y'all at the start. I was like, yeah, Calgary destroyed this trade. But then I looked at it a little bit deeper, a little bit, dig a little, put it in there a little more. But then I noticed, like we said earlier, Huberdeau 1 year. So your 100-point player, Gonzo. Your two other guys are kind of mediocre. So like they're good roster fills. They're a core to a Stanley Cup team the way Coleman was to the Lightning. He's one of those guys. He's a great core guy. But that's it. And the Panthers got a era player for 8 years.
Yeah.
Who is 27, right?
And
he's going to be good for all 8 of those 8 years.
24. He's 24.
Yeah.
My
he's
bad.
even younger.
Is Huberdeau 27? I don't know. Somebody's 27.
He's 29.
Somebody's 27.
Yeah.
Somebody in hockey is 27. I know that for a fact. But Kachuk,
somebody somewhere is 27 years of age.
Chuck is in Florida for almost the next decade. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's what I saw too. I mean, Ryan and you were both freaking out about it. I was a little less on it, but I mean, you're talking about he's literally signed for 8 years. He's down there. They have that player for 8 years. And Calgary will be fine for the next season, which is kind of, from looking at it now, it's kind of like a stop the bleeding kind of thing.
Like you don't want to completely suck next year, so let's bring Huberdeau.
Yeah. Like,
and I feel like you could have gotten a bigger haul of, like what I was saying in our podcast, sell. Like your 2 franchise players are gone. It's time to start over at that point. So you gotta look internally and see why 2 of your best players left, and not just try and plug and play, which I think is what they're gonna do. And it might work next year. They might be equally as good next year, but after that, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah, you gotta plug and play again.
But Florida is gonna be good for a very long time now because they're gonna have Kachuk for 8 years. So I don't know. It looks a lot more even. If Florida does great the next year, sure, even trade. But I feel like in the long run, Florida's going to win this one by a mile.
The only thing that I disagree with you guys on a little bit is the 1-year contracts. And it made sense for Florida because they probably looked at both of those guys and realized there's no way in heck we're going to be able to sign both of these guys to extensions. They're just going to cost too much money. And, we can trade both of these guys to get this one guy. Yes, it's one asset, but, he's really good. He's young. He's shown he can be a playoff performer. He plays the way that we like to play. He's a really heavy style. But the only thing that I would say about this, and I still think Calgary won the trade in this one, even though Florida got the best player, in my opinion. Both Huberdeau and Weegar have both said that they're open to signing extensions in Calgary. And that right there kind of puts the hammer on the nail to me that lets me know that Calgary wins this trade. Now, I understand that both of these guys are older. I know that, Huberdeau is 29 and Mackenzie Weegar is 28. Florida is really going to, I think that's the biggest one that they're going to be missing is Weegar on the blue line, because they obviously kind of replaced Huberdeau with Kachuk. I mean, 100 points for 100 points right there. That's fine. They'll be fine there. But losing Weegar, I think, is going to be really, really tough for them unless they have some sort of defensive
was so
prospect.
Great last year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, they
Like,
I mean,
how
when you
much worse
score
can it get?
6 goals a game, come on.
It was 4. It was 4.
Average of 4. Okay, they scored 6 goals most games,
and they took their goal scorers that one game and got a 10 put up on them against a terrible team.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't think they care. They'll trade all the defensemen for somebody.
Yeah, they're just gonna go straight
We'll
off.
give you all 6 to get Huberdeau back.
Pull
We'll
the
take
goalie.
Patrick Kane.
Pull the goalie, put him in regular pads, and we'll just play without a goalie the whole time. Six forwards on the ice at all times. Just get rid of all their defense and just hoard all the forwards.
Yeah. The other thing, I don't know if Calgary's actually gonna be able to re-sign Weegar and Huberdeau because
I think they will.
Their 2 best players just left because they hate it there. Like, I don't know, man. And it's also Calgary.
With
Who
Matthew
wants to live in Calgary?
With Matthew Kachuk, I'll agree with you. with Johnny Gaudreau, I disagree with you on it because his reason wasn't because he hated Calgary. And if you go look at the Players Tribune, he wrote an article and wrote it to Calgary and said that he loved Calgary and there was nothing against Calgary. It was just because he was starting a family. His wife is pregnant. He wanted to be closer to home. Columbus was as close to home as he could get. That was literally the one and only deciding factor when it came to Johnny Gaudreau. It wasn't even money because Calgary offered him 10.5. So I agree with you on the Tkachuk part, not the Gaudreau part.
The article is kind of weird to me. I mean, he released it after he basically got bullied by the entire Calgary media.
That is true.
You can't tell me that didn't have any influence on him writing an article. He wasn't going to write an article before, and then the media just bullied him into doing something.
And then we've also heard just a whole bunch of rumors from the organization too about stuff going on there. And also, Alberta is just a terrible place to live. Like, I watched an interview with Connor McDavid, and he's just like half the interview is Connor McDavid complaining about how cold and icy Alberta is and how bad Edmonton is. I'm like, oh, huh. Wow.
I mean, when you compare Calgary to Florida, yeah, there is definitely a very big difference in climate.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be a lot happier in Florida, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, last question on this, and we'll move on. But which team do you think does better next season? Because that'll be really interesting. Who does Florida? Who does Florida? Who does better? Florida or Calgary?
Florida.
Really?
Florida.
Yes.
Probably Florida. I don't think Calgary is going to be bad, but I think Florida's still going to be better.
I still think Calgary misses the playoffs. Hot take.
Wow. Okay, that's way too much of a hot take.
That's a fun hot take.
I highly disagree with you on that. You still have a team that has Elias Lindholm, Jonathan.
You still lost, even if you cancel out Tkachuk and Huberdeau, which I still think you can't. I think Tkachuk is a way more dynamic player than Huberdeau is. You still lost.
The guy
Gaudreau.
was. You're kidding, right? He was second in point scoring.
Their play style is way
play
different.
styles are
They're very different, but they basically took Jonathan Huberdeau, and he's a replacement for Johnny Gaudreau in very similar fashion.
Okay, then you lost Matthew Tkachuk.
That's not very good.
You're not going to be better.
I mean, I think the biggest problem, like the weirdest thing to me is like Huberdeau is going from a offense that it was full rush all season long, rush, and now he's put in the Calgary system, which is more checking, which is kind of weird. And then the more checking dude, and then the more checking dude went to the rush team.
I have a feeling there's
that's true.
I
hadn't thought about
rush
that
team now. So
yeah,
he's going to bring that anywhere.
I think it's going to be a lot better for the Panthers than it is going to be for the Flames. The Flames might have a few, like, the Flames were already good on the rush with that one line that they had, and and two people of that line are gone now. So, or as Ryan would say, 2/3 of the line is gone now.
What is with y'all?
2/3 of the line is gone.
2/3.
I hate y'all both still.
All right. That's all I have to talk about. Anyone else have anything else hockey related they want to talk about?
Random other thought. How do you think Columbus is going to do? Do you think they make the playoffs with Johnny Gaudreau?
No.
My only thing with Columbus is that they don't really have a number one center. I mean, they've got you got a couple prospects. You got Cole Sillinger. You've got Kent Johnson and Jack Roslovic.
Columbus is the Dallas of Missouri. Like
that's fair.
They're in and out, and they're just more out than in than us. We're a little bit more in than out recently. So
I think they make the playoffs. I do.
I think they're a lot closer this time than they were last time. I'll say that.
Well, I mean, I thought they were going to be absolutely terrible this past year, but they weren't. They were a very competitive
only
team.
Because the other teams in their division did worse than them. They didn't play better than those other teams. The other tems just played worse. That division was that whole conference was a mess, man.
Yeah, it was.
They knew who their eight teams were by December.
December or January, yeah. Oh, you know what we should do next episode? What if we did like a way too early, seasons predictions podcast where we kind of rate where we think the teams are going to end?
I don't know. I think we got to wait a little longer for that. I think we got to wait till.
But that's why it's called way too early.
We don't even know who's on the teams. How are we supposed to predict this?
Oh, come on. There's
We
going to
got
be like,
Kadri, Klingberg, apparently
okay, that's
Kane
about
now.
it. That's about it. Probably. Okay, maybe Kane. Okay, fine. So 3 players. 3 players is going to completely change it.
Yes. A
Yeah.
couple of teams, yes, could
If the
very
Stars
change
sign
with those 3
Klingberg
players.
and pick up Kane, yeah, a lot.
That
That
would
would
change
Okay.
a lot.
Bro, I would just go kiss Nil right now.
I would do. Right on the lips. Smackaroo. Okay. Anyways, going into our Who Cares segment for tonight. We're doing double tonight because we don't have a ton of hockey content to talk about tonight, guys. So this first one, I did not come up with it. Who was it? Was it you, James, or was it you, Chris?
James.
James, it was just completely random. So, James, you may introduce our number 1 Who Cares
I don't know
segment.
how to introduce this.
I'll
Just say
introduce
what
it.
it is.
All
So
right.
it's
So we have the most delicious and healthy snack around. Lovely fats, lovely proteins. It's nuts. That's it. It's nuts.
That's
It
why I
is
wanted
like
Chris
the
to
food.
introduce it. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right, James.
It just
Start
sounds
us
weird
off.
just with you saying it. I'm sorry.
Nut number 3.
Nut number 3, it is almonds. I like almonds,
Number
They're
3.
they're salty, they're good, almonds.
Crunchy is what
They
I
are
say.
a little
for-
crunchy.
What I say for almonds.
But
Ryan.
number 3, almonds.
Ryan, number 3.
James stole my number 3. My number 3 is almonds as well. I like almonds. That's it.
Mm.
That's my commentary.
No other statement. Okay.
Other than they're good in like candy bars and stuff like that. Like
My
almond
number
joys. I like almond
3
joys.
is gonna be pecans.
That's a good one.
Pecans are very delicious. This has got to be the softest nut, right? Like, is it as far as nuts go, rather soft.
I don't know.
And
I don't eat
pecan
a ton of
pie,
pecans.
pecan pie is amazing. When I was a kid, I didn't eat pecan pie because I was like, ew, there's nuts on this pie. It's amazing. Little boy, little 8-year-old listening to this, eat pecan pie. It's just caramel pie. The pecans are a lie. It's just caramel. It's a way to get caramel to your mouth. Eat it.
Especially if you're in the South. Pecan
It's
pie is like a
amazing.
staple. You have to
Pecans
have
are
it.
great. James.
My number
nut.
2 are pecans because pecans are amazing. I remember there's
Pecans
there's a big pecan
Let's go.
tree at the elementary school, or there used to be at the elementary school in Farmersville. And as a little 6-year-old, we would collect the pecans, squish them on the concrete, and then eat them
I
during
remember
recess.
eating the ground pecans. Yes.
Yes,
Healthy.
yes. They were
The
they're so
little bit
good.
of rot was
Yeah,
especially good.
always the best when you would eat them and they would just taste awful, and then you spit them out and then you just go get another one.
Exactly.
And
All right,
that,
Ryan.
And
what's
that
your
everyone
second
is
nut?
and that everyone is how COVID started.
Ryan, show us your second nut.
Second nut is what did I say? Cashews. Cashews, that's right. Cashews. I gotta go with cashews. And any kind of cashew, really. You know, the honey
Anything
roasted
else?
cashew
You're just gonna
juice.
say cashew?
Yeah, I mean, what else am I supposed to say? They taste great. I like them.
Wow. All right.
Number 2, Chris.
Number 2 nut is the peanut. The peanut. This is obviously very basic. Peanut is a very basic nut, but it's basic for a reason because it's amazing. The peanuts in the shells, that is a hockey game staple at the Chambers household. The peanut
it is.
is great. Lovely.
Like if we go to a game and we do not get a bag of peanuts, at least one, then
It's an
it's
awful
not a
game.
hockey
Lose.
game. Yeah, we're gonna
lose.
lose. Yeah,
Yeah,
Might as well leave already.
that's great. They're great in many different scenarios. Honey roasted, or
I
what is it?
knew you.
Honey
Honey
roasted
roasted
nuts?
peanuts. Yes,
Honey roasted peanuts are
I
so
knew
good.
you were gonna go.
They
there.
are delicious. That is candy. That is candy nuts. Sweet nuts in your mouth. Great. Love it. I made it all the way to number 2 before I made a joke like that. Peanut butter.
That's impressive. That's impressive, Chris.
Peanut butter is one of the best things God has ever created. I mean, he went through those 7 days, day 8, peanut butter. I mean, it's
Day
amazing.
8 peanut butter.
It is the best. I love peanut butter. So peanuts, versatile, amazing. Boom. Number 2. James, what
Number
is
1.
your first favorite nut?
My first favorite nut is cashews. Cashews are really, really good. They're super soft. They cost a lot, which obviously means they're better. I mean,
That's fair.
it's
That is
fair
true.
statement.
Fancy stuff is nice. I like
yeah.
fancy stuff.
So, Chris,
fancy
you
stuff's
wouldn't
nice.
happen to have a ton of cashews around your apartment, would you?
No, I don't.
No, I didn't think so.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Good for you being somewhat healthy.
I'll tell you what nut I have in my house in just a minute after you tell me what nut you have in your house. Number
All
one
right.
nut, Ryan.
My number one is obviously I'm going to go with your number two as my number one. Peanut is number one. And
Solid
and
choice.
it has to be. It has to be for me. And it's strictly, just because, when I was little, we would go to Stars games, whether it was at Reunion Arena, whether it was at the American Airlines Center, or wherever. Even if we were at an Allen Americans game, or whatever, we would have to get a bag of peanuts. That's just a thing. You throw them on the ground. You're at Logan's Roadhouse. I used to love that when I was a kid. So just because of that connection to my childhood, that's why peanuts are number one. And they're also really good. So
there you go.
Can't go wrong
Took him
there.
all the way to number one until he gave us a reason for his nut, James. My gosh. This guy is not
It's
committed.
okay,
I swear.
just so-
He doesn't get this segment. He really
He doesn't
doesn't.
understand. All right.
Not at all.
So
what am I supposed to do? Profess my love for almonds or something?
Yes.
that's exactly what I'm about to do.
Oh my gosh. Called it.
I already knew what they were.
My number one nut is a nut that stands on its own. It doesn't need to be turned into anything. It doesn't need any kind of honey covered anything. It stands on its own, and it's the almond. Almonds are the best. Those things are the crunchiest things in the world. I mean, it feels like you're eating teeth. That's great. That is a top tier.
Crunchy?
Yeah, yes, teeth crunchy. Crunchy. All the way. Amazing.
All right.
Seasonings on them. What Blue Diamond has done is a miracle. Oh my goodness. There is so
I knew
many
you were
flavors.
going there.
The sriracha flavor, that is number one. Smokehouse,
man.
so good. They have Old Bay, amazing. Sweet chili, wow. I mean, you're traveling around the world, but you're in your house eating almonds. That's it. You're just eating almonds, going around the world. It's great. So, and by the way, probably the healthiest nut too, and lots of fiber, gives you the poops. You need that. You need that in your life. You need something that'll make you poop. So, boom. I'm actually very satisfied with y'all's answer. I thought someone was gonna bring out some crazy like Brazil nuts or hazelnuts or coconuts or some crap like
we all
that.
stayed
I'm very
normal.
happy. I'm very happy with y'all's nut choices.
Coconuts,
so thank you.
Really?
Coconuts
Is that
aren't nuts.
not a
That's
nut?
a fruit. It's fruit.
Is that not a nut?
It's a fruit.
No, it's a fruit.
Is this America or is this America? It says nut in the name. It's a nut.
No,
it's not a nut.
Quit being you're a band director, Ryan. Shut up. It's a nut.
It's always got to be the band director thing.
It's a fruit.
All right.
And you know what? Honorable mention to pistachios because I like pistachios.
I'll give honorable mention to pistachio as well.
Yep, agreed.
And pine nuts because pesto.
Okay.
Pestos.
All right. Here's the one that we really didn't plan for. Chris was already planned for this like 2 days ago with the whole nut thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Top three.
He didn't even have to plan for the nut thing, man. He
Yeah,
already knew what they were.
He just knew exactly where he was going with that. That's true. Okay. Bonus segment for Who Cares segment tonight. Do we want to do just band or just any
instruments?
All instruments. Okay. So we're gonna do top 3 instruments. Any kind of instrument. I originally thought we were just gonna do just band instruments. But you know what? We're going to open this up to everything. You know what? Chris, number 3.
All right. The number 3 instrument is likely one of the most unique instruments in the world. It's the banjo.
I was not expecting that.
He couldn't say it with a straight face.
You tried. You did a good job. I'll give it to you, Chris. You almost did it. You almost did it.
You were so close.
Okay.
Okay, Chris, why the banjo?
I'm gonna mute myself for a second while I say
The banjo is you get to wear Wolverine claws while you play it. You go ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. It's the only instrument that sounds like a banjo. Go listen to a banjo. Tell me what that sounds like without saying the word banjo. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And it looks like a guitar, but it sounds like 10 times worse. And that is lovely.
That's lovely.
So since I laughed, I can't use the banjo as my number 3. So, James, what's your number 3? Well, I look at my actual number 3. I forgot the name.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the French horn. I like the French horn when they play melodies. It's very pretty instrument when you can play it really well, and they have some really cool parts in like Lord of the Rings songs and stuff. So
Yeah, maybe
French
we
horn.
should. Do we need to pull up some pictures just for people to see, just in case they don't know what some of these instruments are? Because I mean, you would be surprised how many people don't know like what these instruments are and stuff like that.
You're gonna have to pull up the instrument that I'm gonna give as number 3. So.
Oh my god! Here we go.
No, this is legit. This one's legit.
I believe you, but I mean,
I don't believe this is gonna be legit. But
we
you
have
know
to
what?
describe
Whatever.
what a French
I don't think
horn
y'all will
looks
know
like,
what it
too.
is.
Oh, you're talking to a band director, Christian. Come on.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give my number 3. My number 3 is, of course, my instrument, my original one that I started playing on, the clarinet. I love the clarinet. Literally 6th grade logic when I was doing beginner band, it looked like a recorder. That's literally the only reason why I chose the clarinet. So, but I love the sound of it. You can play a bunch of really fast notes really, really quick, and it plays low, it plays high. It's freaking cool.
As a clarinet player, that is a terrible choice.
Oh yeah, by the
agree.
way, here's the funny thing about our family. For those of you that don't know, there's 7 of us in our family, right? 6 boys, 1 girl. Okay, all 6 boys play clarinet or played clarinet, and the 1 girl played tuba. Who would have figured? Complete opposite of what most people do.
So the clarinet is terrible because, first of all, it's like the only instrument in the world that doesn't have a register key. It does, but it doesn't work like a register key. It's incorrect. So all the fingerings, you have to memorize every single one. That's idiotic. Also, it is the most monotoning sounding thing in the world. It is terrible. The only way people could find out an interesting way to play them is to change their voice muscles all around, and that's it. Other instruments, you just play one way perfectly, and boom, that's how you can do it. So the clarinet is awful. And the way you play it, you have to blow the air up and then down. That's so stupid. Like, the saxophone, probably a more interesting sound than clarinet, and it just makes more sense. And they're like, yeah, blow the air this way.
Oh,
that makes sense. Sure. Let's blow the air straight, like a normal human. Okay. Moving on. My number 3 is the steel guitar.
I've heard of a steel guitar. I know what it looks like.
Pull up a steel guitar, Ryan. Most people don't.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So the steel guitar is probably an instrument that people don't know. I need like the tabletop one, like the ones in country music. Yeah, that one. The one in the middle there, bottom.
So this one?
Yeah. So this is all throughout country music. You probably can't find a country song that doesn't have a steel guitar. It's amazing. This instrument is like, it's so crazy. It's super. It resonates a lot, and it's twangy, like the way people sing country music. It's a guitar that has twang. Unbelievable. And it's like on a table, and when people play it, it looks like they're making potions, and that's really cool, and I like that.
I knew something stupid was coming.
I knew something was coming. Okay, James. What are we on? Are we on number 2 for you now?
Number 2, yeah.
Okay, number 2 for you. What you got for us?
I'm gonna go with the violin.
Okay.
I mean, it's really it's a really pretty instrument. It's you can play it with just one person playing it, and it can sound really, really cool, and you can play it with a group of people all together and harmonizing and melody with just long hold out notes in the background, and that can sound really cool too. So, yeah.
Very cool. All right. My number 2 is James's number 3, and it's the French horn. French horn, for those of you that don't know, is the absolute freaking hardest instrument to play in band. You have to have a good ear, and you have to be able to to hear things really well. So and they always get all the cool stuff, like in symphonies or in movie music or anything like that. Anytime you can hear like a big melody or anything like that, it's either one of two instruments. It's either a trumpet or a French horn, and I hate it. As clarinet players, violin players, we get you have all these notes going all over the place, and then French horns can just go.
It's almost
And they
because
get the
the
cool
color of a clarinet is terrible, and the color of a French horn is amazing.
Disagree.
That's complete facts. All right.
Yeah, everyone knows what y'all are talking about when y'all say color.
The color of the sound. The way
Right.
it sounds, it just sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just sound
Okay,
racist,
Chris, what
Chris.
am I
Sorry,
looking at
hockey
now
people.
this time?
Y'all need to learn music theory. Okay, moving on.
What am I looking at this time now?
All right, this one is
Didgeridoo?
super underground.
Okay.
The piano.
Oh my gosh.
So the piano is amazing because there's not very many other instruments where you can listen to a song that is just one instrument. The piano can absolutely do that. It's amazing. It's also just a piece of like engineering master. Like they're crazy the way that those are made. If y'all look at it, the inside of a piano, when someone really good is playing on it, it's insane. There's so much moving stuff. The way that the shape is built, like the big giant pianos. Y'all seen the big giant pianos and the little home pianos that are like stand up. The big giant pianos sound so much better just because they're like shaped so perfectly, and like the math and science that goes into making them is crazy. And pretty much every band song should have a piano. An orchestra always has a piano, and there's always just one guy playing it. That's because he's amazing. So
not always, but
main reason because there's the only instrument that they can be the only ones in a song, and the song can be great. And there is some amazing piano songs.
That's a solid choice, Chris. Very good. I'm proud of you.
Thank
That's
you.
not even
And
your
Chris
number
just
one.
explained my number one for me. My number one is piano.
Wow.
I love listening to the piano, man. It's such a nice sound, and just like exactly what Chris just explained, it's pretty much the exact same reasons. It can be all alone by itself for a whole song, and it's in a lot of orchestras. And the people who play the piano, like to like the best people who play the piano are so crazy. Like just watching them play is
Can't see their
mesmerizing.
hands.
Yeah, they just move.
They go John Cena on the piano, bro.
Yeah, and the notes start playing, and then you're like,
weird. All right, Ryan, number one.
Number one, saving the best instrument for last, the absolute best instrument for last. When I was in 6th grade, I started on the clarinet. Hey, you were complaining about me not monologuing, so I'm monologuing here. So shut up and listen.
Go for it.
When I was in 6th grade, I literally got second to last chair, and I would have been last chair, but I got second to last chair just because the other person did not show up for the day. So it led me to the most glorious instrument of all kind. In 7th grade, I was switched to the bass clarinet. And the bass clarinet is God's instrument to man.
This dude just put 2 clarinets in his top 3 instruments.
Of course I did. What did you expect?
That is criminal, dude.
It is not criminal. It's not criminal.
Name one famous just clarinet part. Just one line of bass clarinet music that is just famous throughout the world.
I don't care.
No,
it's God's instrument.
Find one because it's terrible. Nobody
it's God's
likes
instrument.
it.
Everybody
likes it.
Everybody likes it.
Did Ryan really just choose the bass clarinet?
He put 2 clarinets. He put the bass above the normal clarinet. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
It's not unbelievable.
Moving on. You actually are going to have to look up this one too, Ryan. I forgot. You are going to have to look up this one.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I can explain it pretty easily, but I think it still needs a picture. It's the euphonium.
The euphonium.
Euphonium is
I should have added that
an amazing instrument. For all of you people, euphonium is baby tuba. So it looks exactly like a tuba. It's a little bit higher, but if you're ever hearing so like Ryan was saying with the French horn, if you're ever hearing a song that has a melody that's a brass instrument, it's probably the French horn. If you're ever hearing a deep and just thunderous powing melody, and just punching you in the face, that's the euphonium. And it's just so good. It can play those melodies, those just big punching ones, and it can also play the bass lines. It's just so solid. It's amazing. I can't even make a joke about it. Well, yes, I can. It's just like it's a midget tuba. It's tiny. It's so small.
Midget tuba.
Who decided just like, hey, tuba?
Midget tuba.
I don't know. Our fire alarm might go off in a second, so wrap it up, Ryan.
It's not good.
Yeah, I might have to leave.
All right, I was about to look up a euphonium solo real quick and play it, but oh gosh,
No, you might be able to. I hear one in the distance, so go ahead. I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, euphonium solo. I don't know. Okay, let's just pick the first one and see what happens.
We're gonna get copy striked, Ryan.
Oh yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Never mind. Dang it. Okay, go look it up for yourself. Euphoniums are really pretty sounding. You should go do it. Okay.
I can go the distance.
I can go the distance. I don't
Uncle
care how far.
Copyright, Ryan. Gosh dang it, dude.
Stop singing.
It was less than 3 seconds.
No, sure.
And it was so terrible that no one could recognize it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
probably.
I hate y'all so much. All right, guys, we're gonna cut it tonight. Special segment, double who cares, Patrick Kane talk, Matthew Kachuk talk. What else could you be doing on a Wednesday night at 11:20? Right?
In July.
In July.
Worry about football, guys. What are you doing?
All right, guys. Please go and check out our shop, StarcastickerMarksShop.com, for all of our latest merch options. Please also follow us on Twitter at all the stuff up above, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're all there. You can follow our personal accounts down there on the bottom. You can follow Chris at ChrisCham2B. James is James the Bomb something 04? 02. I was close. 02.
I think it's
and then you can
I thought it might, but it didn't.
And then you can follow me at rchambers1993. Real quick announcement before we 100% cut it off. Tomorrow, I have a interview that I will be doing with 6th round pick Matthew Seminoff of the Dallas Stars. That's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really cool. That interview will be available early Friday morning. So look for that Friday morning. Really excited to get to talk to him and all of that stuff. So along with Chris and James, my name's Ryan. This has been Starcastic Remarks, episode 8. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And we hope you have a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening. Good night and have a good day.